I'm Joey.T.Cartoon.P and you're watching the Cartoon Palooza. Head honcho of Disney Animation, John Lasseter directs an animated movie about cars, mostly because he's more obsessed about cars than most people. In interviews, he stated how his family car business was a big inspiration for making these movies. Look, John, I'm gonna be honest with you, man to man. You don't make animated films out of childhood desires. They're not always bound to be hits. If that were the case, I'd be making an animated film about my booger collection that I had when I was 4. But I'm not adding arms, legs to them and having them dance to Randy Newman tunes anytime soon. I know, I apologize for putting that image in your head. I'm just trying to illustrate a point here. I know the biggest counterpoint to this is Toy Story, since John Lasseter is also hugely obsessed with collecting toys as he is with cars. However, I'm gonna argue that toys have a universal appeal. Everybody's played with toys. Car fanatics, on the other hand, that's a specific niche that don't apply to everybody. You're not gonna see your kids driving your minivans anytime soon, and if they are, you're a horrible person. Now, as far as the movies go, as well as animated franchises in general, it's interesting to see how the Cars movies hold up. Especially since with their latest film, it's safe to say that they've hit most highs and lows that most movie franchises take. Therefore, it only seems fair to talk about the Cars movies this month. Especially at the time of this review, Pixar's releasing their latest animated film, Coco. Therefore, it only seems fair to kick off this month with the first film that put it in gear. And I know, I made a car pun, and I'm just as amazed as you are. When I was writing this review, I came up with a ton of these. So to save you from all this pain, I'm gonna keep track of every car pun that I make, just to keep you guys on track. Yeah, I'm gonna include that one too. The first major problem with this film is the biggest thing many critics have pointed out. The story ain't good. Or at least engaging enough for over an hour and a half. It don't seem like much, but most animated movies these days stay at the hour and a half mark. The movie goes for 2 hours, and I'm also including the credits scene, since there's content that goes towards the film as well. So you got a big time race car. He wants to be a champion, and thinks winning a race and getting a big time endorsement will make his life better. So through a misunderstanding, he stumbles across an old forgotten town that makes him discover what life is truly about. It's a basic setup, and it's worked for other movies. But when you got overused characters, your high-octane story becomes a lemon. The central conflict of the film is Lightning, and himself. Not necessarily a bad guy or anything. Therefore, his change is crucial to making the story engaging. However, Lightning's change from egotistical jerk to caring guy, it ain't convincing. And it don't help when his supporting cast feels like leftover Pixar buddies. Now, if there's one thing Pixar movies take pride in, it's creating side characters that are just as interesting and important to the story as their leads. In this film, you really can't say much about these characters other than the people that are voicing them.
It's a conspiracy, man! The oil company's got a grip on the government!
Oh look, it's George Carlin!
And it is such an honor to be your agent.
Oh look, it's Jeremy Piffin!
You do need a paint job, man. Ramon will paint you up right.
Oh look, it's Cheech Marin!
You know her?
She's a town attorney and my fiancée.
What?
Oh look, it's Garbage! Mater the Tow Truck, or Tomater, because humanity ain't perfect, this is a character that spun off into his own projects that most critics, including myself, feel he was forcefully pumped into. Part of the reason is that Larry the Cable Guy doesn't really give you a character, or really give this animated icon an identity outside of taking his comedy and giving it to a character. The biggest traits are that he's dumb and loyal. There you go. What's more annoying is how they rev up their friendship with Lightning. Now, in most Pixar movies, the two buddies that don't get along at first but find what they need is the basic formula that hasn't failed the studio since Toy Story. However, Mater doesn't really play a specific part to Lightning's journey. He ain't no better than the other citizens of Radiator Springs. We see him give Lightning a tip on how to drive backwards, but he's not given enough time of focus. What could have worked if they put more time into the story was the irony of Lightning's best friend being the thing he hates. Let me explain. In the film, Lightning has a sponsorship with a company he wants to separate himself from for the fact that they're old and decrepit. Therefore, having him become friends with an old and decrepit car would make sense as part of his transformation from egotistical jerk to tolerable jerk. However, it's only once when Lightning makes the connection between Mater and his company representing the same thing.
And when I do, we're talking big new sponsor with private helicopters, no more medicated bumper ointment, no more rusty old cars.
What's wrong with rusty old cars?
After that, it don't show up. Kind of a missed opportunity. But I guess making cow-tipping fart jokes was more important. I guess you could say there was too much gas in that tank. Oh, that hurts so much. The only credit I can give towards these characters is Paul Newman as Doc Hudson. He plays a community member who most people didn't know was a famous race car driver. What I like about this character is that he ain't straight up a good or bad guy. He's just stuck in his own head. His morality may be better than Lightning, but in the end, he's no better than him. Having been in the world Lightning was a part of, and seeing what it can do to a person was enough for him to run away from it. Therefore, the scene when Lightning calls him out for being self-absorbed is great in a movie when all the characters' traits are spelled out for you. It is refreshing to have a more interesting character that was more important to the plot than this get a dummy. Does it change the fact that Owen Wilson's got one direction as far as sounding exciting goes?
Wow.
Owen, bubbler, let me be honest with you. There ain't no A in wow. I would know this. I know my English perfectly. The visual jokes, humor, and gags are not bad. When you see visual jokes on screen like this, it does make you laugh. When they start talking, the chuckles turn into sighs. Part of what works is when you got some of the best animators in the business, is how these people perfect motion to talk about the characters as much as the actual talking. Now let me explain. When you got a character that can express how they feel or tell you something about their personality without dialogue, it's impressive. One of my favorite examples of this comes from a character as silly as Chick Hicks, played by Michael Keaton. His introduction has him doing this. Seeing that tells you as much as you need to know about that character. He'll cheat to get his way and do anything to get what he wants. But once he starts talking, you can throw that junk in the trunk. I think that's the last one, guys. Don't worry about it. Overall, I can understand why people don't like this film. I'm not going to say it's the worst film out there, especially as far as Pixar goes, but it ain't great. As I mentioned before, they didn't put the animation to waste. And it is clear that there was some direction as to where they wanted to take this story. It just so happens when you got characters who are simple cartoon characters in a movie that's trying to convince you that there's something more to them, that's when the movie falls apart. That's why it's neither the worst or best Pixar movie. Simply put, it's average. Okay. My question for today, what is your favorite car? For me, 2012 Honda Civic. It is a beauty. Best car out there. Comment below and let me know what you think. If you're too young to drive a car, tell me what car you want to drive. Most likely the 2012 Honda Civic XR. Now that's a beauty. I'm Joey Tedesco and stick around, we're going to be reviewing more cars related things on the Cartoon Palooza.